Doing quite well myself. I agree. Being alive is a good thing. Um, Hi, Brad. How are you? I'm Terrence Washington. Which one of the students here are in my sections? Are any of my students here? Awesome. Very glad to hear. For those of you who are not in my class, please tell me who's your teacher. And I'll tell you a little bit about your teacher. I'll give you the inside scoop on who your teacher is. All right, Brad, inside scoop on John is he's probably already told you this, but he's really big into plants. Um, he recently gave me these berries called miracle berries, miracle fruit. And if you've never heard about this fruit, it's amazing. Get your hands on them. Essentially, what you do is you eat the miracle fruit, and then any sour food you eat after that, like a lemon or a lime, will taste sweet. So you eat the miracle fruit, you can eat a whole lemon, it'll taste like lemonade. It's pretty cool. True story. John's into plants. Um, who else we got? We got Brandon. Brandon is actually uh, my best friend that I work with at Full Sail. He's really into board games. He's made his own board games, several of them. I've played them. They're awesome. He's going to make it big one day. He's going to sell a board game to a large publisher. Brandon's cool. Wendy is great. Wendy Lake is great. She actually is my boss, and she's hardworking. She walks like 15,000 steps a day. She's really fun. Laura is really big into Harry Potter. Um, yeah, I'm actually going to a Harry Potter themed party in October at her house, and yeah, she's great. And it's got two lovely kids. Anne's kind of kooky and crazy. You can tell her I said that. She's funny though. Yeah, she's great. Did I get everyone's teacher? Yeah, yes, I do know my house. I actually recently great question and a great story that goes along with that, Nicholas. So, um, we were talking about this Harry Potter themed thing that we're going to do at Laura's house, and she asked me if I knew what house I was in, and I did not. So I sat down at my desk at work to take the test on Pottermore. I kid you not, I'm taking the test. I hear like a pop and then a glow under my desk while I'm taking the Harry Potter test. Uh, Someone else saw it as well, so I'm not going crazy. And there were burn marks on my desk. So while I was taking a magical quiz, my a wire inside my desk, decided to explode. So if I'm not going to be getting my letter from Hogwarts soon, I don't know what's going to happen. Because if that's not a sign, I don't know what is, guys. No, I'm Hufflepuff. I am Hufflepuff. And I think I'm Hufflepuff because I'm a very loyal guy. So that's probably why I'm Hufflepuff. Team Hufflepuff. We have produced the lowest amount of dark wizards. Yeah. Curious. For students that are in my section, I don't know if this might be a good question to ask or a bad question to ask, but the students that are in my section, since I described the other teachers, how would you describe me? Oh crap! Fingers crossed. I hope it's good. They're probably like, he's terrible. Honest. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, you don't have to like me, but I am honest. Thank you, Kenneth. I appreciate that. Did you guys have a good weekend this past weekend? Did anyone do anything fun? Took the kids hiking, says Kenneth. Let's see. You tried a new restaurant. Tanasia? Is that how I pronounce it? I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Just spend time with kids. Clean my barn. Tenacia? Is that how you pronounce it? You have a barn, Brad? Where do you live, Brad? Michigan. How many 10 acres. Wow. What kind of animals do you have? We have a farmer here, guys. That's pretty cool. Neighbors have llamas though. So wait, what's on your property? I'm confused. Like just corn and stuff? Do you grow crops? Just land with 2 tracks and walking past. We play capture the flag. I like. Oh snap, Brad. You might have to invite me up, man. I really love capture the flag. Haven't played in a long time. That sounds fun. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you guys are here and we're able to make it to the session. Session. There's my therapy. To the lecture. I appreciate that. Thanks for taking time out of your day to be here with me. Today we're going to be talking about. That's not supposed to say positive psychology. Fail on my part. It's supposed to say psychology of play. And we're going to be talking about creativity. Obviously, you guys talked about positive psychology in week 2. So, fail points for Terrence, -5, but hopefully I can gain those points back. Psychology of play, in week 4, we're going to be talking about creativity. We're going to be talking about what creativity is, what can stand in the way of creativity, and what we can do about it. How does that sound, guys? Sounds good. Great. Woohoo, says Kenneth. Kenneth says woohoo, but he didn't add any exclamation points, so I'm almost wondering if it's sarcasm, like woohoo. I mean, without the exclamation points, without the enthusiasm and the excitement behind it, it just seems like woohoo. Sounds good. Yay. Yay? Come on. Come on, guys. Are you guys ready for this immersive experience that is going to envelop our lives right now? Are you ready? We're going to sandwich ourselves with all of this knowledge about creativity. We are going to reach a higher dimension of creativity. And we're going to create things that no one's ever created before. We're going to blow people's minds. Nicholas says, I love sandwiches. I'm pumped now. That reminds me of Joey from Friends. I hope you guys aren't too young to know that reference. Good. Good. I'm glad the show has staying power, so I'm glad. All right, let's get into it. How you doing? I'm doing good. All right, so today we're going to talk about how we stay productive and remain creatively inspired, and how can we choose a great company to work for. That's more in your reading about the Golden Circle, but any strategy we talk about that we can apply to our own self will help you guys find a good company in the future to connect with. So let's talk about creativity. Let's get into it. All right. Creativity. All right. So I'm about to show a picture on this slide. But before I show the picture, two things. Number one is I want you to define creativity in your own words. So go ahead and type in the chat box, or if someone wants to raise their hand, I will unmute you and you can give me your definition of creativity. This class is a lot more fun when I can talk to people over the mic, by the way. Kevin says the ability to spark imagination, thinking outside of the norm, innovation in thinking, to imagine and create something. No one raised their hand. No one wants to speak on the microphone. I'm a little disappointed. All right, here we go. Alfredo. Let me unmute Alfredo. How's it going, Alfredo?
That's going pretty good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's your definition of creativity?
Honestly, if I had to paraphrase it, I would say that creativity is probably like the ability to express what you're feeling or to clearly express what's inside, you know?
That's interesting. That's very interesting. I like that. I want to explore something a little bit more. You said clearly express, but I think a lot of times we'll watch a movie and the message won't be extremely clear to begin with. So I think your definition works even if the message isn't clear. Would you agree?
True, I would agree.
Yeah, because I mean, like for instance, have you seen the movie Inception?
Yes,
Yeah. So
that's a good movie.
yeah. So definitely has elements where it could be a bit confusing at times, but we would all agree that it's still very creative.
Of course,
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
no problem.
So I like that definition, Alfredo. Uh, Good job. Thank you for speaking on the mic. But I really liked what you said about expressing uh, your feelings. And I think that's a lot of creativity. Oftentimes, when we see something creative, if it doesn't have a particular feel to it, it could just be nonsense. But if it has a particular feel and a vision and a theme to it, it kind of makes sense. Um, so great job. And you guys in the chat box, guys and gals, nice job expressing your viewpoints. Rebecca says expressing passion in different ways. Nice job. Yeah, I recently, for those of you who saw Inception, I recently was reading um, how Christopher, what was his name? Christopher Plummer, I think his name is. He played Leonardo DiCaprio's dad in the film. Um, he finally revealed how. Um, no, I'm not talking about the director. I'm talking about the actor that played Leo's dad. I think his name is Christopher Plummer or Christopher Plum or let me look it up. Now it's gonna bother me. Christopher Plummer. Yeah, it's Christopher Plummer. Yeah, he recently revealed uh, what we all kind of knew, but that he revealed that Leo was indeed in reality because um, the director Christopher Nolan revealed that any scene that Leo's dad was in was considered reality, and any scene that Leo's dad was not in was not reality. For those of you who not seen the film, this is not making any sense, but yeah, there you go. I get sidetracked easily, guys. Sorry. All right, so second thing before I reveal the picture is what do you guys think the picture is going to be of? I will give you a hint. There's a very famous element, there's a very famous picture within this picture. I'll just say that. Very famous painting or picture within this picture. All right, let's see. Let's reveal. Ha! So we got the Mona Lisa here wearing some shades. with a sunflower on her head in an archway that has beautiful foliage with seemingly a church or some other building in the background. Pretty creative, I would say, right? I like it. I figured out, I've definitely picked this picture because I feel like it embodies creativity to the very high order. And we're going to talk about how we achieve that creativity and what stands in the way. So, what prevents us from being creative? What are some roadblocks to creativity, in your opinion? Your mind, stress, life. Geez, that's depressing. Others' opinions, emotions, negative rules. By the way, guys, I have a dark sense of humor sometimes, so don't take anything I say seriously. I got you, Kenneth. Critique, timelines. Yeah, so definitely most of the barriers to creativity fall under, you guys like this incredibly dark photo that I found? Most of the barriers that come with stifling creativity surround the word stress. So things like anxiety, or pressure, or I'm feeling overwhelmed. All these things sort of have an inkling, a connection with stress. So stress definitely prevents us from being creative. Why do you guys think that stress prevents us from being creative? It's distracting. Okay. Takes focus away from being creative. Yeah. You can't think properly. You can't focus. Focuses on consequences instead of the creative process. Ah, we're getting into it now. Tashika, or sorry, Tenacia says cortisol, and Tashika says our brain is clogged and there's too much running through it all at once. Nice job, guys. So I want to show you guys a video. So I want you to go to the materials section and click on the video entitled Stress. Should bring up this clip here from a very famous movie. Enjoy it. You guys are watching a video in the materials section, so go a couple tabs above the chat box, click the materials section, click on the link that says stress. When you're done, come back and let me know that you're done with the video. So if you guys are in the chat box, which you are now, if you go above the chat box, there'll be something called materials. It'll have a drop-down menu. And you'll be able to watch the film, the short video there. When you're done watching the video, just let me know that you're finished. So someone describe what happened in the video. Stage fright. Definitely stage fright happening. They got into his head and he couldn't perform. He choked, too much pressure. He froze. Nothing was coming to his mind. Definitely. And so this is how it works with creativity. When you're feeling stressed, your body only has so many resources to devote to one thing at a time. Now, oftentimes, if the tasks are very simple, you can do many things at once. As you learned for multitasking for last week, you learn that when they're simple, there are simple tasks, you can do many of them at once. But when the task requires some higher order thinking or creativity, you can only do one thing at a time. So if your resources are spent on feeling stressed, the cortisol is high, you're not going to be able to be as creative as you can be. And since in this particular clip he was on stage trying to think of things to say off the top of his head, and he was stressed out, he was worrying about failure, he wasn't able to accomplish the goal. So let's look more into what is going on in the body. So you have this part of you called the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. Now, have you guys watched the video in the reading yet? If not, that's okay, just curious. So this is where cortisol is made. And what is cortisol? So cortisol is just a fancy word for a stress hormone. So the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, or HPA axis, makes cortisol. Now cortisol, again, is a stress hormone. It affects your body in a multitude of different ways. Who wants to guess in what ways cortisol affects your body? Cortisol can help control blood sugar levels, regulate metabolism, help reduce inflammation, and assist with memory formation. It has controlling effect of salt-water balance and helps control blood pressure. So, in high doses, so we're talking about elevated cortisol here. So, in high doses, cortisol is not very good for you. So, in high doses, cortisol makes you keep getting fatter because it's harder for you to lose fat when cortisol is high. It actually reduces your ability to form new memories. It makes certain parts of your brain smaller. This is why when people experience severe trauma, oftentimes their memory on the details can be hazy. Cortisol oftentimes can affect memory levels. So the effects of prolonged stress are this: high levels of cortisol for long periods of time can increase the activity level and number of neural connections in the amygdala. Now, in week 2, you guys learned about the amygdala in the brain. Who remembers what the amygdala does? So the way I always remember what the amygdala does is that amygdala and aggression both start with A. So if you have an overactive amygdala due to prolonged stress, how might that affect you? If the amygdala controls aggression and the amygdala is overactive due to high cortisol levels, what might you behave like? Increased aggression, high temper, shouting, grumpy. Definitely. Now, we all can understand this. We've all been in this scenario. Who wants to be a little bit vulnerable and share a time when you were pretty grumpy, or share what might get you in a grumpy mood? Dealing with it right now with my dad and my sister, says Kenneth, with him going into the hospital. Sorry to hear that, man. Appreciate you sharing. Is there a diet pill for cortisol? No, but we will talk about other things that you can do without having to take a pill that help with cortisol, so we can get our creativity back. Joycelyn says, I'm grumpy every morning because I'm in pain. I'm sorry to hear that. Do you deal with chronic pain, or did something happen? Did you get an injury? So definitely, prolonged stress can lead to hyperactive amygdalas, which can make us aggressive, want to argue with people, want to fight with people. Um, so when the levels of cortisol rise, the electric signals in the hippocampus deteriorate. Now, the hippocampus, who remembers what the hippocampus does? Anyone? Anyone remember what the hippocampus does? Earth to students. Yes, memories. Good job. I normally teach week 2, but since I didn't teach week 2 this month, I'll teach you guys how to remember hippocampus. So I think about a hippo on a college campus, and in order for a hippo to be on a college campus, it'd have to be a pretty smart hippo, right? I mean, it made it to college, right? Got accepted to college. So it'd have to have a good memory, hippocampus memory, bam, you'll never forget it again in your life. So when we have high levels of cortisol, and cortisol is what again? Stress hormone. The electrical signals in the hippocampus deteriorate. So they have an inverse relationship. So when the cortisol level goes up, the electrical signals of the hippocampus go down and deteriorate, which would have what effect on you? Memory loss. Yeah, your memory would worsen. It then reciprocally affects the activity of the HPA. So the previous slide, we talked about the APA axis. And so it reciprocally affects that and lowers our ability to control stress in the first place. So the more stressed you are, the less you are able to deal with stress. Kind of a conundrum, right? So the question is, how do we overcome? How can we overcome? Kenneth says play. That's definitely one of them for sure. I have a picture here that I'm about to reveal. Who can guess what the picture will be of? We have laughter, meditation. Someone says Deadpool. Someone says puppies. Someone says smile. Someone says puppies. All right, so I had to embody the vision of overcoming. So I picked this photo here. Guy made it to the top of the hill. He's got his walking stick. He's super excited. He has overcome. Let's go. You guys have already named a lot of the things that we can do to overcome. What does this picture represent? Exercise, yes. Those are some sweet shoes, by the way. I want some orange shoes like that. What does exercise do for us? How can it help us with stress and thus help us with creativity? You can clear your mind. It's good for wellness. Heavy breathing gets more oxygen into our system. Endorphins are released, that's for sure. It improves blood flow. I like it. You guys are going technical with it. You guys are going biological, physiological. I like that. Good job. What does this photo represent? Yes, meditation. Clarity of mind. Peace and meditation. What does this do for us? What does meditation do for us? Definitely helps with focus. Studies have showed it helps with memory as well. Helps calm us down. And it helps us see things for how they are. Oftentimes when you're in a mindful state, you'll recognize things for how they are. So whereas in a particular event, something might seem really upsetting, when you're mindful about it, it may just seem like an inconvenience. So it helps us be the best versions of ourselves. What does this photo represent? Laughter, family, joy. Yeah, all of the above. Human, humanity. What does this photo represent? No, that's not a dungeon. That's funny. Yeah, just peacefulness, more mindfulness, more relaxation. What do you think this represents? Yeah, she is holding a gun, but I think it's a water gun or a gun that shoots bubbles. Yeah, so these photos represent exercise, meditation, mindfulness, laughter, human connection. So we can do things in our life that help build more cortisol receptors, which may seem counterintuitive, but the more cortisol receptors you have, when you have cortisol in your system, the cortisol receptors can attach to the cortisol, which can help us deal with stress better. So it seems counterintuitive that these things would give you more cortisol receptors, but the reason why that's good is because when the cortisol is in your system, the receptors can bind to them and take it out. And it helps us deal with stress better. So I not only want you guys to be familiar with what happens on just the subjective level, but I want you guys to know what's going on internally as well. Exercise, meditation, mindfulness, laughter, human connection, these things help build more cortisol receptors, which can help us deal with stress better. There could also be epigenetic changes as well. What do you guys think epigenetic means? Yeah, so increased cortisol receptors. When the cortisol level rises, you'll have more receptors to bind with the cortisol, essentially giving the cortisol something to do rather than staying in your system, stressing you out. So epigenetic means they can affect which genes are expressed without directly affecting the genes themselves. So even if you are someone that's predisposed to higher levels of stress, these things can help reduce the expression of those genes. And the crazy thing about it is the ways that in which you change your life, the ways in which you are nurtured, you nurture yourself, you are affected by your environment. These things can actually be passed down as well, which is really exciting. These qualities can be inheritable. Exercise and meditation can reverse what stress does to us, and it can increase the size of the hippocampus. So before, what did we say decreased the size of the hippocampus? What was that? Stress, exactly. And now we're saying that exercise and meditation can increase the size of the hippocampus. Pretty amazing. So, in the future, when you have a creative block, which one of these would be your favorite method to overcoming it, and why? Kenneth says meditation for the ability to see through blocks and spike of creativity. Meditation because I hate exercising. Meditation is a huge stress reliever. Nicholas says the dungeon because it's nice. Alfredo says meditation. I feel alone time in your mind can give you a sense of personal direction. I agree with that. Tai Chi. Meditation in the dungeon, says Christopher. All right, so let's have a little discussion. Why don't you guys put on your thinking hats? When you have your thinking hat on, please type in the chat box, Mr. Terrence, I have my thinking cap on. I'm ready to begin the assignment. Let me know when you're ready to start. No. No, what I said was when you have your thinking cap on, say, Mr. Terrence, I have my thinking cap on. Please, can you let me know when you're ready to start? That's not exactly what I said, but I don't even remember what I said, but something close to that. No one said it yet. All right, Kenneth has said it. Kenneth is the only one ready to start. All right. Tashika's ready to start. Joshua's ready to start. Got Brad, Lizel, Joycelyn. I mean, if you guys are going to spell my name, at least spell it right. It's Terance. Minus 100 points for that. That's not cool. I'm telling my mom. There we go. And Rachel still spelled my name wrong. Come on, Rachel. I just said Terance. Rachel, get out of my class. Just joking. All right. So, what I want from you guys is I'm going to show you a prompt on the slide. And all you have to do is tell me what comes to mind. And if you want to speak on the microphone, just raise your hand. And if you want to type, you can type. So, what comes to mind? And here's the first slide. Brad says, awesome. Quentin says, Quentin. Edgar says, I am me. Nicholas says, hungry. Lizel says, worthy. Zaria says, fearless. Dashika says, I am everything. Martin says, tired. One of a kind says someone. Dope AF says someone. Free minded. Creative. Fun. Oh, I think we have one hand raised. Let me unmute Kenneth. Hold on one second, Kenneth. All right. Hey, Kenneth.
Howdy, howdy. Um,
Go ahead.
I've been racking my brains on learning Unity and Unreal Engine and height maps. So that's what I am. That's what I'm doing.
Okay. Explain more about that.
So in game design, in game design, you have to deal a lot with height maps and different game engines. So even though I'm only in my second month of schooling and I haven't even got to the point where I'll be doing that, I'm proactively learning it on my own through Lynda and other tutorials from the programs to get a head start, but also work on my own game that I'm building.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. Thank you for sharing.
Yes, sir.
Pretty cool, guys. Pretty cool. Joycelyn says spiritual. Thank you for sharing, Kenneth. Nice job. I like the initiative that you're showing, going ahead, working ahead. That's not a quality we see a lot here at Full Sail, if I'm honest. So I encourage you guys to do that. If you guys can be like Kenneth, you can continue that, showing that initiative, working ahead, learning things on your own. That's great. All right, you guys ready for the next slide? All right, if you're ready for the next slide, say, yes, Mr. Terrence, I'm ready for the next slide. Can you please click next on the next slide so we can see the next slide, please? Thank you. Nope, Rebecca, that's not what I said. Nope, Shannon, nope. There you go, Kenneth. There you go, Nicholas. Go, Brad. Josephine, you got to play along. This is psychology of play. This is not the psychology of being a party pooper. I'm just teasing, guys. All right. Awesome. Cool. All right, here we go, guys. Oh, here's the next slide. What comes to mind, guys? Wholeness, strong, determined, complete, compassion. Ooh, Quentin says, leaves me the question of asking what I am. Just being. I am at work. Yeah, this is the next slide, guys. There's only a slight difference. You see, this is a slide before. This is the slide now. It's super deep. So how does this second slide and the first slide, how are they alike and how are they different? Well, how are they different, really? That's the important thing. Slide 1 is more open to interpretation. I agree. Where slide 2 is more of a statement. One seems more final. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, so I think both are important for life. I think we maybe put too much emphasis on one more than the other, and I think one should be more valued. Um, if you had to, if in your opinion, which one is more valued in society, this one or this one? Yeah, I would agree. I think oftentimes we feel the pressure to define ourselves by adding things onto it, whether it be, I'm a mother, I'm a father, I'm a firefighter, I'm a teacher, I am a, gymnast, I'm an athlete, I am something, right? We feel the pressure to fill the resume up with as many things as possible. I'm a chess player, whatever it may be. I'm a lifeguard. I am a bilingual person. Whatever it is, we feel the pressure to add more onto that. But oftentimes we don't hear the importance of just being. What gives you value is not what you can add to the end of the sentence. What gives you value is that you are. And people may say that I am what? Because you're stuck in this mindset. Well, you are. That's what gives you peace and happiness. Um, it's not immediate all the time. Sometimes it takes a lot of work. But when you get to the point where you're not always looking to add things on and you just are, and you're comfortable being, and you're not feeling the pressure to add anything else on the end, when you just are, that can help deal with a lot of issues in life, whether it be dealing with purpose or why am I here, or you know what gives me worth, things like that. Oftentimes if you just explore and you become comfortable with the just being, that's very powerful. If you're one of those people that doesn't like to be alone or doesn't like to be in a quiet room, or the thought of doing nothing in a room for 30 minutes scares you, you might need it the most. So I encourage you to be okay with you. Because when we are mindful, it helps us be the best version of ourselves. And that's all that mindfulness is. It's just being, right? Accepting what is here in the present moment, being. And so we're going to go through a little example and explain the difference between how you may react if you're mindful and how you may react if you're not mindful. So, for example, I want you to go to the materials section and click on the link that says anger. So click on the video that says anger. And when you're done, come back and let me know that you're done with the video. Well, Kenneth, you said you did live on a farm, right? All right, who's done? All right, so the question is, why was Ross angry? So, what if I told you Ross wasn't mad that someone ate his sandwich? Who would believe me? So we can prove this with a simple thought experiment, right? So, what if Ross found out that the person that ate his sandwich was really hungry that day and they had been going through a tough financial time and they really just needed something to eat? Um, and so they ate a sandwich, but they were embarrassed about it, so they didn't ask. What if Ross found that out? How do you think he would feel? Yeah, you definitely feel different about it. Even if it's only slightly, he definitely feel different about it. We have this sense that the act is what makes us upset. But what really makes us upset is our belief about the act. So, a common situation that people get angry about is when someone's in the car and someone cuts you off, or maybe takes too long to go on a green light, and then you miss the green light and you get a red light. Who would admit to being angry in situations like that before? I'd raise my hand on that. I've done that before. Me daily, says Kenneth. So, same scenario. We think that the act is making us angry, but we can disprove that with a simple thought experiment. We've all heard, okay, what if you found out that that person that may have slightly cut you off in traffic or was speeding a little bit too fast was on their way to the hospital because their pregnant wife was having a baby? How'd you feel about it? You'd feel fine, right? And if you were still mad, then you'd be an asshole, okay? So don't be an asshole, guys. Yeah, so it's our beliefs about the situation that this person is being an asshole, this person's trying to piss me off, this person is being disrespectful, this person has no regard. It's the beliefs about the situation that actually causes you to be upset. But when we're mindful, we can avoid this situation. So we have the ABCDE method. So A stands for activating event. Activating event. So that is the event that happens that we often think causes the C, consequence, the feeling. But what really is causing the consequence is the belief about the activating event. So if we're eating in a restaurant, right, and then we get sick, and because we're sick, we are very mad at the restaurant. If our belief is that they were negligent and they just didn't take care of the food properly, that would make us even angrier, right? If we felt like it was a negligent situation. Whereas if we felt like it was an honest mistake, we'd still be angry, but we wouldn't be as angry. So even in degrees of our belief about the situation could make us feel a degree better, a degree worse, or it can make us feel completely the opposite. So our beliefs about the situation cause the emotion to happen. Yeah, I agree. I believe that anger is a secondary emotion the vast majority of the time, for sure. It's just a mask for something else. It's more of a reaction a lot of the times. So when we change our beliefs about a particular situation, that's called disputing. This is the D. So activating event, belief about the event, consequences, and disputing. So in the road rage incident, okay, A, activating event, someone cuts us off in traffic. We feel angry. We examine our beliefs. Oh, I thought they were doing it on purpose. We dispute those beliefs. Well, I don't know what their situation is. It is annoying and it is inconvenient, but does it really need to make me this angry? Probably not. E, energization. Let me go about my day and let it go. Does that make sense? When we're mindful, we can see things how they are, right? So when we're mindful, we can see the annoying event, right? Yeah, it is annoying when someone cuts us off in traffic, but it's annoying. You don't have to take it further than that. It's uncomfortable, period. But when we're not mindful, we get wrapped up in our feelings. We don't examine why we feel the way we feel, and we just react. So someone cut me off. Oh, they're a bleep, bleep, bleep. I can't believe they did that. Makes no sense to get that angry. If your life's not in danger, now if your life is in danger, go ahead and get angry. But if it's just a minor incident that happens, you really shouldn't probably get that angry. So definitely be mindful and examine how you feel about things. Now, when you're mindful and you're controlling your stress levels, or I shouldn't say controlling your stress levels, but when you're mindful and you're not exacerbating your stress levels, this will help not only with what we talked about in terms of reducing cortisol, but it will help with your creativity. It'll open your mind, and it'll just help you be a generally happier person. Myra, you have your hand up. Do you want me to unmute you? I didn't know at one point you raised your hand. So if you still want me to unmute you, just let me know. Okay, no worries. All right, so that brings us, there's not as much material in week 4, guys, compared to other weeks. So that brings us to the end of my portion in terms of lecturing. But I'll stick around and chat with you guys and answer any questions that you may have. But yeah, just so I know in the future, what was your favorite part of the lecture and what would you like improved? Just so I can improve and, feed my ego sometimes too. Candor. Thanks, Brad. Thank you. Thanks, Kenneth. Thanks, guys. Don't be an asshole. That's right. Go forth and not be an asshole, guys. If you don't have any questions, you guys are dismissed. I'll be here to answer any questions you have. Yeah, that's what I said, Nicholas. I believe that. A lot of times when we're angry, it's really just a defense mechanism masking a deeper emotion like sadness or something like that. Like, for instance, if you're in a romantic relationship and your partner were to cheat on you, your initial reaction would be like you'd be fuming, mad, and angry, and you might want to rip things up. But what you're really feeling is sadness, and the anger is just like a primal, like, defense mechanism that helps you protect yourself. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, this is the last meeting of the month. Crazy, right? Sure, Nicholas. What questions do you have about the assignment? I hope that's a good thing, Taishan. No, you'll just have to compare the assessments yourself. And just see, if you made any changes throughout the month. Yeah, you'd have to go find your first results. They should still be in your email. If you deleted it, then check your trash folder in the email. I'm glad, George. Thank you. Shannon, I think you would just have to check your email. I think they send the results via email. You can ask Kenneth. If I know the answer, I'll answer it, but it's not a guarantee that I'll know the answer, but if I do, I'll help you. And if not, I hopefully can at least point you in the right direction. Yes, I do, Tyshawn. That's my thing. I'm the president of the Orlando Chess Club. If you ever want to play, let me know. Hey, checkers is a legit game. I respect checkers. Nicholas, you're just looking for different changes that you find interesting. Nothing in particular, but changes that you find interesting. I always jokingly tell my students that. Oh, I didn't see your question, Kenneth. If you had a question, um, I also jokingly tell my students that if you see changes and you got worse in certain areas, it's your fault, and if you got better, it's my fault. So obviously, I'm just kidding, though. No right or wrong answer to the assessment. Um, I think the best way to do that, Kenneth, would be to just reach out to the instructor as soon as you get placed into a new class. Um, you can probably go on the website and find maybe like a general overview of the classes, but you won't find much more than that, I don't think. Oh, what do the percentiles mean? I think percentiles are just comparing you to the people who have taken the test in the past. So for instance, a 90th percentile means that in that particular area you scored higher than 90% of the people that took the test. If you're in the 10th percentile in a particular area, that means that you only scored better than 10% of the people in that particular um, area. Now, if the area is, yes, yeah, exactly. So that's what a percentile means. Whenever they use the word percentile, they're comparing you to the population that has done that particular thing. Now, just because a percentile is low, that doesn't mean it's bad. For instance, if you are in the 10th percentile of, being a mean person, that's probably a good thing. So that means that 90% of people are meaner than you. So that wouldn't be a bad thing. So just because the percentile is low, make sure you're looking at what the percentile is measuring. Yeah, so that means at the beginning of the class, you identified as being more free spirited than 90% of the people that took the test, and basically the very top level of aggression that you could have. And it's saying that your free spiritedness dropped by about 7 points and that your aggression dropped by about 10 points in comparison to people who've taken the test. So that's essentially what that means. Oh, real funny, Nicholas. You're about to pity that grade. Well, don't tell her that, Kenneth. Good. I'm glad she has a sense of humor. All right, everyone. You have a good day. If I didn't answer your question, let me know now. I think I got to all of them. Yeah, that's all I have for you. I mean, I could make up things to talk about, but we covered all the main points of the reading. Yep, it's the end of the class. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Sorry, Tyshawn. I apologize. Week 4, there's not much material, as you can see from the readings. But I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.